We're chatting with Mike Kewley this afternoon about emotions, which, Mike, I think is a really good time to bring this up because, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's results left, right and centre. So tomorrow is A-level results day. So there will be some, I'm sure, very nervous students out there. Some of them will get exactly what they want. Some of them may be surprised and delighted by what they get. Some less so. It's just the nature of the beast at the end of the day. And so they will absolutely be going through a whole gamut of emotions, I'm sure. So is there anything you can suggest to them for the actual sort of almost, they don't even open an envelope anymore. I think they actually go online to get their results. Yeah, for that moment when they do sort of receive them, is there something they could do fairly quickly to reduce the strength of those emotions?
Yes. So the short answer is yes, there are things you can do to shorten the strength and the length of those emotions. And one of them is the practice we've just done. Name it to tame it. Spend some time focusing on your breath to calm your whole system down. I mean, there's loads of things to do. Whether or not people will actually do them, I think it's one of those things where, as you say, it's the nature of the beast, and you'd have to be fairly self-aware and mindful to know, right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be nice and calm and go, oh well, I'm not sure there'll be many students doing that.
I'm guessing Mike Kewley, age 17, 18, may not have been in that place either.
No, exactly. I can't really remember how it was, but it doesn't last, and the other thing sometimes I tell students is, especially at St Ninian's, where I sometimes our last mindfulness session is before they get there, before the holidays and before their exams. And I talk about one of my favourite mindfulness teachers, an American guy called Kula Dasa, and he had a fascinating life because he had a really rough family background, very abusive, very tough. Because it was so tough and abusive, he didn't have an education. He's wandered through different jobs and things like that without ever really getting an education. Found meditation, committed wholeheartedly to training his mind, and then when he was a bit older, he found his way back into education. He became a neuroscientist, and now he's one of the few people in the world who is a neuroscientist and meditation master. So, and I say that because things don't always go the way we'd like them to go, and yet often it will work out. Mm-hmm. So that can be a relief that it doesn't all have to hinge on, and we think it does. But, obviously, as life rolls on, you realise, everything kind of works out. I don't need to take it too seriously that I haven't got this result. Because guaranteed, something else will happen. You could be living in Japan, America, India, Thailand. You could be on Mount Everest this time next year, despite what happens tomorrow.
I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? Because as Ronan sang, life is a roller coaster. And so I guess what you really want is, which is what we're talking about, is those tools available no matter what happens in your life to be able to react in a sort of balanced and measured way. Yeah,
and that's the whole practice is finding freedom in spite of circumstances. So it's not having circumstances go your way because you're not the controller of the universe. It just does. Life happens how it happens. The best we can do is learn how to be with that and not make it worse. And often we make it worse than it already is. So that's part of the practice, is just having that skill set whereby no matter what happens in my life, I know I can achieve a still, calm mind. I can calm my body and emotions down. I can keep a big perspective on things, and even though I might suffer and I might be upset because I'm a human being, I can understand that that's something to kind of be tasted and accepted as part of being a human being, rather than, oh no, it's all gone wrong. It hasn't gone wrong. This is part of being a human too.
And does that become easy, do you think, as we naturally get older? I'm just thinking, as a broad generalism, you tend to be more impulsive when you're younger and faster and not so maybe quite so able or find it so easy to step back. Generally, that becomes a little easier as you get older, becoming a bit more reflective. I suppose you slow down a little bit as well, and you perhaps become a little bit more thoughtful and reflective. Does that make you think, or make you more prone to finding mindfulness more beneficial, or at least being more able to sort of adapt to it or take it on board?
Yeah, and I like what you've just said, and I've heard other teachers say this, aging is a kind of natural practice of selflessness. Like, yeah, you're that impulsive youth, but that doesn't last. That winds down, and then, you know, all the things that you used to do, maybe you can't do so much. Some of the drives and desires fall away, either because they never happened or you managed to tick them off. But there's a natural kind of slowing down and reflectivity that comes with aging that people would get through doing mindfulness practice. But it's almost like that's inherent in the nature of being a person, is things tend to slow down the older we get. So that's there anyway, you know. So that's a kind of natural mindfulness that you just get through aging.
Mm-hmm. So we did record this practice earlier. Name and tame. Did you say it was
Name
called?
it to tame it.
Name it to tame it.
Yeah.
So you can find that on the podcast page a little bit later. If you go to manxradio.com and click on podcasts and late lunch, you'll be able to find that there, and also subscribe to all of Mike's previous uploads and podcasts as well.